Take the hero's journey to finally reduce your stress and anxiety and get out of your own way so you can increase your focus and motivation. This truly is a journey out of ego into your true self. Let's talk about it. I'm Dr. Trish Leigh. All right. When you decide you're going to become the hero in your own story, you can follow the story structure of the most popular movies ever. And I'm going to use the example of a movie called Hitch. Now, I love that movie. It's got Will Smith in it. It's a romantic comedy. It's got nothing bad and it's filled with goodness. But in the movie, seemingly, Hitch, Will Smith's character, is seemingly happy, helping people find love and connection. And then, of course, over the course of the movie, we realize that he's filled with fear and that he actually had a traumatic experience trying to get and keep a girlfriend. And that is what led him to do what he's doing. Fear, not purpose. So it felt like purpose to him, but it was laden with all this underlying anxiety. So he was faking it until he could make it. Now, of course, in the hero's journey, which I'll tell you about in a second, in the hero's journey, he realizes through circumstance and other people pointing it out to him that really what he's doing is self-serving, not necessarily for the benefit of other people and the common good, that he's just trying to self-soothe the wounds of his past. And when he realizes that, he is able to make a major transformation in his life, and in the end, ends up with the girl of his dreams, being healed from that traumatic experience of the past. And he realized in that he actually wasn't helping people in any particular fantastic way. He was inspiring people to figure out who their true selves are and share that version. So he truly was an inspiration. It's such a great movie, and I won't tell you any spoiler alerts, but check it out. But let's talk about the hero's journey. Hero's journey and story structure is a hero's just living his life the way that it is, and usually it's filled with stressors and some fear and anxiety that he might not even know about, and along comes a situation that he has to deal with, and that's where he has to decide if he's going into the woods to deal with this thing once and for all, or if he's just going to stay in his recliner and not deal with it. And, you know, hashtag relatable, right? But if he decides to go into the woods, he's going to find some comrades along the way. He's going to find a mentor along the way. He's going to find some conflict that he has to overcome. But along the journey, he realizes who he really is. He knows what his values are. He figures out what he really wants. And then he has the strength and the courage to overcome those fears so that finally he can become the person that he wants to, and he can validate himself from within and not need external validation. So Star Wars is a great example. Another example is Batman. And in another video, I'm going to talk about the new Batman movie and what we see there in Batman's story. But let's bring it down to your story. If you're stuck in anxiety, and if you lack focus, and if you're not motivated, likely your brain is stuck in the brain pattern of too much fast and too much slow speed. It's making it so that you're stuck on your couch or in your recliner, and that you're not able to venture into the woods to find your true self. It is survival mode. It's ego orientation. So ego orientation takes. It just wants. It wants to take from the world. It doesn't want to give or contribute. It's confused. It's a distorted thought system. It's based on fear. It worries about abandonment and what other people think of it. And along this hero's journey, the real journey is shifting out of ego into the true self, the one that's confident and knows what it wants, the one that can validate from within and go, you know what? This is me, world. Check me out. You don't like me? So be it. If you do, great, but I'm here doing my thing anyways. And of course, I've been on my own hero's journey, and I'm trying to be the hero of my own story, and I'm trying to help others live their authentic life, which is becoming the hero of their own story. For me, when I was young, I grew up in a family of 6, 3 boys and 3 girls, and we all kind of were, cookie cutter versions of my parents. Sorry, Rents, if you're listening. But everybody was kind of, becoming the cookie stamped out of the mold of my parents. And when I was young, I became the black sheep in that I said, you know what? This cookie cutter isn't working for me. I don't fit into this cookie cutter, so I'm going to have to create my own cookie cutter. And man, did I have a lot of fear. And man, was there a lot of conflict. And man, did I have to muster up a lot of courage in the face of fear. But I learned how to do it then when I was young, which means now I have the skill of being able to do it over and over and over and over when necessary. But I'll tell you what it looked like in a practical sense. I went to school and then I started as a speech language pathologist. I went to work as a speech language pathologist, and that was not the right job for me. And my dad encouraged me to become a speech pathologist, so I acted on that encouragement. And of course it served me. I learned all about neurodevelopmental disorders. I learned about acute neurological disorders, and I learned about neurodegenerative disorders. And I taught for a really long time as a college professor based upon the beginning. So every single thing I've done has served me. But I was able to go, this isn't for me. I'm going back and I'm going to get these 2 PhDs. One of them is in cognitive science. It's a cognitive science track where I was able to look at all the neuro stuff I was learning, all the behaviors and all the symptoms and all the disorders, and relate it to brain functioning. And clearly it served me. And then I got into teaching, and I loved teaching, but it didn't completely fire me up. I always felt like there was a little bit of a hole there. And I always wanted to have my own practice. So even though I was making good money and I had a lot of time off, I didn't have to work in the summer, I didn't have to work winter break. Like, everybody in the world thinks that's awesome. But I'm like, no, I've got these holes. And so then when I opened my own practice, I was lit up from within. And then of course, when you have your own practice, you're doing all this work and you're not making any money. So it feels kind of crazy up front. But I was fired up to get up every single day. I still am. And so I was able to grow into and move across my life by feeling what I feel inside, looking at the fear, being able to take that stress and analyze it and to make an action step to keep moving me forward. That's what I want you to do. I want you to know if you have anxiety, it's ego orientation. It's not the real you. It might be the you that other people want you to be. It might be the you think you have to be. And a lot of times you can't even put your thumb on it because it's fear-based, because you developed it as survival mode. It's the way you learn to perform to survive. And so for me, I really was impacted by what my father wanted me to do. I kept chasing that down. I went to medical school, I took all the prerequisites to get into medical school 10 years ago, which I did get in. And a major transformational moment for me in my hero's journey was, I'm not going, because that's not going to be good for me. And being able to say, not going, this is me. This is what I want to do for myself. Amazing. It was an amazing time. Slightly terrifying. Then I quit my job to start my practice. And I was making a lot of money, and I went back to not making any money. And we moved. And it was amazing and scary, but it allowed me to be able to do the thing that I want to do, which is this. Be here to be able to teach you and to encourage you, to teach you about brain training. If you struggle with anxiety, your brain is stuck in survival mode. You cannot thrive if you are stuck in surviving for whatever reason, whether it's programming from the past by your parents or your community, self-programming, because that's the way that you learn to get attention and validation. Like me, achieving those milestones would get me validation from my father, which felt good to me for a little while, but it didn't feel authentic from inside. So I was able to make that transformation from ego to self along the hero's journey, becoming the hero in my own story. All right, so what's a practical way to do it? Think about how you want to spend your days and your true innate gift. That is your true authentic self. That's the true authentic life you were meant to live. If you're living that life, there's minimal anxiety because your brain is no longer out in those extremes. It's in the middle. So you can stay in calm focus and in peace even when the boat is rocked. And so now when my boat gets rocked, people are rocking my boat all the time, by the way. When my boat gets rocked, I sit in my boat for a minute and I go, you know what? My boats are rocking. Is it because I'm going back and I have fear and I'm moving backwards and I'm becoming more of my ego, the thing that cares about what people think of me? Or is it because people are trying to rock my boat to set me off my purpose, because me being on purpose is creating waves for them and making them feel uncomfortable because they're not on purpose? That will happen. And so if people can't support you in your purpose, that's okay. That's their capacity, but it doesn't mean that you come out of the boat because it's rocking. It means you stabilize yourself and you realize, I got this. I'm stronger than this. I'm moving forward, the hero in my own journey. And if you think about any of those cool movies, people kept moving forward in these journeys. That's why I tell people, burn the bridges, don't go back. When I quit my job, I had no choice but to succeed in my practice, because I quit and I moved away. And I had no choice. So I buckled down and I made the life that I wanted. I created it. And you can do that too. And when you're creating the life that you want, guess what? That's thrive mode. And you're no longer in survive mode. The anxiety falls away, you get focused, your brain performance pattern changes. But practically speaking, you have to figure out what fear is driving you back to do the things you don't want to do, or to not rock the waves, get the waves going, because you don't want other people to feel uncomfortable. This is your one time around. Use it well in your authentic life. You will be so glad that you did. Now, brain training, I have to tell you how it works, because if you're interested in it, that's why I decided to offer neurofeedback therapy. I didn't become a neurofeedback therapist and then start making the messages. I was on this hero's journey. I found neurofeedback and I'm like, man, this resource is what helped me to get my brain in that medium speed so I could be the real version of myself and share that version with the world. That's the role that it can play for you. Every time you use neurofeedback, and you can use the headband by yourself, we'll put the link below, it pulls your brain into the optimal mode. It's like bicep curls for the brain. It's constantly bringing your brain out of anxiety and overwhelm mode into optimal processing speed, helping you to create the life that you want to, so you can get in thrive mode, taking you out of survival mode so that you can dial down the fear and anxiety and tap into what you want to create, so you can have the strength and the courage in the face of fear. You can't exercise courage without the fear. They go together. Brain training will help you train your brain to do it in an all natural, holistic way. It feeds back your brain performance pattern to you in sound. It doesn't put anything in. It works your brain like the muscle that it is, using neuroplasticity. Okay, I hope that helps you out. And if you're looking for help on this amazing transformational journey that is the job of humanity, I'm here to help you. drtrishleigh.com. And as always, control your brain or it'll control you.